William and Zinnie Pettigrew, A Life Beyond Chains. Around the 1840s, there were over 2 million enslaved people in the United States. Today, we focus on just one. His name was William, a 9-year-old black boy whose birth name was taken, like so many others. He was sold on January 19th, 1846, in Perry County, Tennessee. A deed marked him as sound, healthy, sensible, and a slave for life. At 9 years old, when most children today are learning multiplication tables and laughing at cartoons, William was property, sold by Nartwell Barham to James M. Pettigrew and Company. James Pettigrew and his brother Curry had come from Scotland, moved through South Carolina and Alabama, and settled in Tennessee. They opened general stores, but this story isn't about them. This story is about the child they bought, who later became a man they could never own again. We don't know all the pain William carried. The words yelled, the work demanded, the freedoms denied. But what we do know is this: he did not stay. Somewhere between the weight of oppression and the whispers of freedom, William broke away. He escaped. And in the summer of 1863, he enlisted in the Union Army at 17 years old, in the middle of the Civil War. William joined the 3rd U.S. Colored Heavy Artillery, Company 1, stationed at Fort Pickering, Mississippi. He became a soldier, fighting for a country that once enslaved him, and for a freedom he'd never fully known. He took part in military expeditions, including Yazoo City and the Battle of Egypt Station. He drove supply wagons, hauled heavy artillery, and stood guard with fellow black soldiers whose freedom was still being debated in Congress halls. In January 1865, he was hospitalized and granted furlough, but he came back. He rose to Staff Sergeant Driver in Vicksburg, Mississippi. By February 1866, he was promoted to Private First Class. He served until September 1866, finishing his duty with dignity. After the war, William moved to Wolf Island, Missouri, where the air smelled of river mud and old cotton. There he met Zinnie, a woman who'd been enslaved until she was 10. Like him, she had survived, and together they chose something powerful: a life beyond chains. Their mornings were simple. William rose early, lighting the wood stove with calloused hands that once loaded cannonballs. Zinnie followed, brewing chicory coffee and baking cornbread. 5 children over the years, stirring under patchwork quilts, would rise to the smell of smoke and song. Every morning, William gathered them. He read from the Bible, or tried, and said, "Remember who you are and whose prayers got you here." Their work was quiet, but it mattered. William took jobs hauling timber, farming, driving wagons. He helped other black families get land, even when he couldn't sign the papers himself. He spoke at town meetings, not with fancy words, but with truth that stuck. Zinnie became a midwife. If a baby was coming, black or white, people said, "Go get Zinnie. She knows what she's doing." She planted gardens that fed neighbors. And on Sundays, under a pecan tree, the Pettigrews hosted singing, scripture, and stories. Their children learned to read, to farm, to question. Their daughter Etta taught the others. Their son Thomas went to Memphis and became a porter. He wrote home once, "Papa, a white man shined my boots today." William dictated back, "Make sure that train knows who's riding it." They didn't teach just survival. They taught strength, tenderness, freedom, joy. In their golden years, William rocked slowly in a chair out front, fingers gnarled like old roots. Zinnie sat beside him, humming a melody once forbidden, now sung with pride. Grandchildren played barefoot in the grass. Laughter filled the yard. William's stories got shorter, but deeper. "Don't let nobody tell you you ain't from greatness," he'd say. "You looking at it." They never had much money, but they were rich in legacy. They weren't just survivors, they were builders, rebels, freedom makers, soul keepers. And because of them, you are here, with your name, your pride, and your story to tell.